We're Saosin, and you're watching APTV from Skate and Surf.
I think the first time that we kind of had started a dialogue about doing stuff again was maybe like 2010.
Yeah.
And it was pretty casual. It was more, we were talking, you know, I'd seen Anthony up at a show, said like, yeah, we've been writing songs, and Cove's no longer in the band. And he's like, dude, you should totally let me. I think we were talking about Deftones, actually.
Yeah.
We were talking about Deftones, and he's like, dude, all I want to do is sing over a heavy record. You just send me the tracks, and I'll sing them. I'll send them back to you and just sing over them. And I was like, okay, cool. So that took about 4 years.
That took 4 years.
Yeah.
But about a year ago, Bo and I went to one of your solo shows, and we did 7 years as a encore. So that was, I kind of think, like another thing that pushed it all like to happening. And then we were doing shows. He was already booked on some shows, and we thought it would be a cool thing to do. Kind of worked. I really hate the word organic, but that's totally like how it seemed to kind of happen.
Many a night I would receive phone calls from Anthony weeping, just based out of nerves, just nerves. And so it was good to finally shock those nerves. No longer, I can get a good rest, sleep.
No more late nights.
Man, I felt no outside pressure. This was always something that I wanted. And, you know, for a long time, like, people would come to shows that I was playing with other bands and yell like 7 years or, you know, songs. And like, I remember in the beginning, like being like, oh, I don't like that. And like, you know, it was, but then like at some point I really started thinking about it, and I was like, this song's so incredible. Like, I do want to sing that. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with people wanting to hear it or not. It had to do with me wanting to play it and loving that song. And you know, if it wasn't for that song, I don't know if I have a career in music right now. So and a lot of the really magical stuff happened with this band, you know, when I was in it, and or 10, 11 years ago, and
Including our first interview in a jacuzzi.
with John Work. So I mean, you know, I didn't really feel any outside pressure. I love these guys, and I love playing music with passionate people, you know, and what we have is like real special, you know, and you know, I feel lucky that we can still do it and that anybody still gives a fuck.
I think the coolest thing, or the sensation that we kind of got from restarting what we started before was like when we first rehearsed. Like, we went back to the rehearsal space that we last rehearsed with Anthony in the same van with a lot of the same gear, and it was just this weird like time warp vertigo where it was like, it almost felt like if the last time he practiced with Anthony was like Thursday 2004, it felt like Friday 2004. It was just like this weird warp. Like, all the mannerisms were back, all the jokes were back, the position in the rehearsal space was back. It was just this weird sensation. And then, like, you know, obviously we played our first show like 2 nights ago. To me, it felt like almost foreign, because the crowd was too big, because we never played shows that big. Like, people think that we were like, a lot of people, I would say like 90% of the people that claim they saw us when Anthony was a band never saw us because there wasn't enough people. We were playing shows like, you know, I think the biggest show we ever played was like 900 people once, and then all the other shows were like Chain Reaction, you know, 300 cap room, 400 cap room. So it was just like it was bizarre. But then you remember, like, oh, I'm playing the same songs. I'm playing them the same way that I played 10 years ago. And then there's just this weird, like, gel happens on stage, and I think that was pretty surreal.
And I think all of us we've had 4 years off. I mean, all of us from like playing shows. So I think that when you kind of get back to it and there's no pressure there, it's just purely fun. So it's like it was back in the beginning of the kind of band. It's like no one cares about anything. We're all super open about everything, and it's just rad again. I don't know.
And the good thing is like in 2003, we kind of sucked at playing our instruments, and now we're a little bit better at playing our instruments.
And I think we're all different dudes. We've all grown up. Like Anthony and I were talking about this last night, but like, you know, it's like when you separate from someone else and you grow on parallel paths kind of, and then you meet back up and you're like, whoa, we're like way closer than we were before because we've grown in such profound ways. So it's just awesome to get the chance to like reconnect and just have fun together.
We were all pretty young when we joined.
We were children. We didn't know.
You were like 18 when you joined.
Yeah,
Anthony was 19 and I was 19. And
now
Alex was
30s.
37.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why he's so quiet, because he actually can't hear anything we're saying.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the
Well,
question.
the set list for these shows, like we have a way longer set list than we do have songs with Anthony. So we have kind of been playing a couple new songs and basically everything that we've done with Anthony. So it's
We did a first time ever. We played a new song called 8 Years. It's actually 7 years played twice.
yeah.
And we played that on a Friday.
Ending is twice as long too.
Played
so it's
endings.
like-
We really fill up space. I mean, like at the end of the day, the longest set we ever played with Anthony was probably like 25 minutes, because we would play everything at like Mach speed.
Warp speed, yeah.
So it's been kind of cool. I mean, it's crazy now. Like we had some songs written and we played a song on Friday, and originally we were just like, all right, well, we got to fill up space, so we're just gonna play an instrumental. And Anthony's like, I'll just sing it.
Improv.
He improv'd over the whole thing, and it was kind of badass. Like,
Yeah, it was awesome.
coming from an outside point of view, pretty awesome.
And here, the thing that's crazy is that if we would have done that 10 years ago, we would have been nervous. We would have been judging everything and weird. And now it's just rad.
It would have been a train wreck.
It's weird. I can't believe.
One of my favorite things to do is just go and sing shit. You
Well,
know,
it's kind of
and
how the
not have-
record,
it's
how the
exactly
EP was done.
It was basically just written with me going in there and just singing stuff off the top of my head. And I feel like that's so fun. I feel like that's such a fun thing to do. You know, it's fun to go and sing songs that have a verse and a chorus and you know them and stuff. But when you can just kind of let it go, I don't have to feel that you feel really free. You know, I felt free.
Translating the name is I'm so incredibly proud of that record. I still listen to it and I can't believe it's almost like you disassociate yourself from it because it was so long ago, and you listen to it and you remember everything that was happening. You remember in the studio with him, and we were children. You know what I mean? So just to think that we, I don't know, did something that I could be proud of 10 years later is pretty rare. Most bands really hate the stuff they've done early, or you know what I mean? There's always weird feelings about it, but man, I'm just proud to be on that record. I'm proud to be
And I think, Alex and I actually didn't play on that EP. We kind of we're kind of like the stepdads. But from an outside point of view, it's crazy to think back. 10 years ago, there was this sampler that they put out of one song, and it had parts of each 5 songs on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't in the band. I kind of loosely knew Bo at the time. And I heard that, and I was like, holy crap. It was such an unidentifiable difference between anything that had ever come out, but it was totally different than anything that had ever come out. So when I had the opportunity, the short history of the band, my standpoint is my band went up and to the Roxy. These guys were supposed to play at the Roxy, first show ever. Bass player quit on some weird terms. Yeah, I'm not sure why. So I met Justin out front and straight up told Justin, Justin's like, oh, hey, I'm Justin from Saosin, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, cool, I'm your new bass player.
Yeah, literally.
I am your new bass player.
Yeah.
And that's how I joined the band. And it's
we
just
were
like,
actually in a different band together called Celebrity, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
Not the actual band.
yeah,
Celebrity,
if you want
but-
some really Orange County hardcore history, we were in a band too.
Yeah.
Didn't even know.
There's such thing as Orange County hardcore history.
Yeah, it used to be called Orange County Fashion Core. But just to tie in the history of, with Scott Heisel, he's been, on the Saosin side for a long time, except for maybe the review of the last record, not so good, Scott. So yeah,
I love In Search of Solid
maybe you should listen to it again. I think so.
I loved In Search of Solid Ground, dude.
Well,
To each their own.
but either way, it's just good. Like, especially being now, like 2014, to have all these people come back, that we've been associated with. Not just Anthony, like Scott Heisel coming back, Christian from Long Island, who's a promoter.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like, you forget about these people, but then when they come back, it's like they were never gone in the
like
first
no
place.
time.
It's just like crazy. It's like this whole weird time warp. So, Scott, you're in that as well. Just give us a cover or something.
I just want to say that I feel like translating the name's like one of the best things I've ever been a part of. And, it being 10, 11 years ago and being so young, when I listen back to it, like, feels like a whole different person. And it's like, it's hard for me, it's weird for me to like continuously take credit for doing it, because I feel like it's hard for me to take credit for. I feel like so much was at play, and there was so much that just kind of happened, so I don't want to, like, when I hear it, every time I hear it, I'm just so grateful to have been there that time, that place, and have that, come through me, and have all these guys in my life for all the weird circumstances and all the cool shit. Like, it's the best, it's undeniably one of the best things that I've ever done. And it's, 11 years, whatever years later, like, people still want to hear it. Like, I can still listen to it and be so proud of it. Play it for, like, my nephews, or, like, play it for, like, anyone, and be like, this is fucking great. Like, I'm so happy to have done this, and, like, it makes me so happy. Like, I don't know how a lot of, like, reunion stuff gets born or whatever, but I've been wanting to play these songs for a long time. Like, there's stuff that I say in these songs, and there's stuff that I feel in these songs that are, like, just the best parts of music for me.
Yeah. In regards to Cove, I think that it was, it was tough for us to break that bond that we had built with Cove. Like, when Anthony quit and we found Cove, we started working with Cove. Like, we can't deny the accomplishments that we had with Cove. We made 2 records that we're super stoked on.
That I love.
Anthony loves
I'm a
them.
Cove fan.
He's a huge fan. It's just, it's just one of those situations that didn't work out. A few of us keep in contact with Cove. I know that Bo keeps more in contact with him. I don't necessarily know the situation. I think that, I hope that when we go to play the West Coast shows, that Cove shows up and celebrates it, because it was always a situation where Cove joined the band as a fan of the band, and I hope that
He's still
a fan of the band, regardless of how the situation ended between us and him. So
I feel like he's definitely one of the kindest people that I've ever known, and I've been in touch with him and been friends with him for a long time throughout the whole history of the band, and bought every record that he's done with them, and I think that they're great songs. And I talked to him around the time that you guys parted ways with him, and I straight up told him that I would love to play songs with the band again, and like, he's just one of the most understanding people that I've ever known. My relationship with him is different than, I'm sure, than you guys, just because we were just friends. We never really worked together, but I feel like there was always a really like relaxed mutual respect, and I can't see him not being anything but stoked about
Anthony, are you going to move on with Saosin?
Next question.
I think you
That was an
know.
awesome answer.
You're just gonna have to wait and see. You know, like I have a history of just saying things and then like I would rather just. I'd rather just not say what our plans are and just have them come out like when they're supposed to, because there's been so many times where like, this is what a record's called, this is what's going on, you know, like Circa is writing and finishing a recording right now. We're going in this, we're coming out of the studio soon. We have a new record coming out hopefully in the fall. I mean, I fucking shouldn't even say that probably, but you know, like I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be more Saosin in the future. But I also, you know, I don't know. So we'll see.
The coolest thing about these like shows when people come up and ask about that same question, it's rad being like, I don't know. Like it's a genuine, I don't know, and it's so light and like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just-
we're not sure if we're gonna show up to the party, and we're definitely not gonna RSVP.
Yeah, it's super liberating to like. Not
Yeah,
have
you
to
may
make
see
a
me.
plan.
You may see me dancing on the floor. You may not. Hey, we're Saosin. We're watching APTV. Oh God.